Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to study the levels of organization, which is chapter 1 of your books. So in order to understand various phenomena of life, biologists they study biological organization at different levels. Now we are going to study about the organization about living things such as organs and systems, etc. So we are going to discuss the organization of the living things at various levels. So the first level which we are going to discuss is atomic and subatomic level. As you know students, matter is made up of elements. Each element contains atoms, and each atom it consists of subatomic particles. Now what are these subatomic particles that makes atom? That is electrons, protons and neutrons. So students, out of these 92 naturally occurring elements, 16 are bioelements. What are these bioelements? These are the chemical elements in human body which is very much essential for their growth and survival. So these bioelements they make body mass of the living organisms. That is their function. Now how many bioelements are there? For example, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium and phosphorus. They make 99% of the total mass, whereas other 10 elements such as potassium, sulfur, chlorine, sodium, magnesium, iron, copper, manganese, zinc and iodine, they all collectively make 1% of the total mass. Alright students, now the second level of organization of the living things is molecular level. Now what happens at this stage is that bioelements they occur through ionic or covalent bonding. As you know, what are these bioelements? These are the chemical elements that occur naturally in human body. For example, lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, etc. So what happens is that they occur through ionic or covalent bonding. Now what is covalent bonding? Is that when two atoms they combine and share electrons with each other. For example, H2O. Now two atoms of hydrogen they combine with oxygen and they share electrons with them. And through this stable particles are formed which are known as molecule or biomolecules. Now students, organisms they are made up of hundred of different types of molecules. Now these molecules they are building material in our body. Students, these biomolecules they consist of micromolecule. As the name indicates, micro it is low level, so it is having low molecular weight. For example, glucose and water. Second example is macromolecule. Macro, as the name indicates, they are high molecular weight. For example, starch, proteins, and lipids, etc. Alright, students. Now, the third level of organization of the living things is organelle and cell level. Now, what is this organelle? These are the subcellular structures, the small particles of a cell. What happens is that students, the biomolecules in living things they combine to form these organelles. Now organelles they combine to form cell, and each organelle performs its own specific function. For example, mitochondria it helps in respiration, and ribosomes they help in protein synthesis. Now, the example of a single cell students are prokaryotes and protists. These are unicellular, means it consists of a single cell which can be only seen through a microscope. Now, example of multicellular organisms are fungi, animals and plants. These consist of more than one cell, means multicells. Now, the fourth level of organization of the living things is tissue level. Now students, what happens is that the cells, they combine to form tissue, and they perform their common function, these tissues. So each cell in a tissue, it carries its own life process, means each cell in a tissue, it performs its own specific function. For example, cellular respiration and protein synthesis. Examples of plant tissue are epidermal tissue and ground tissue, whereas example of animal tissues are nervous tissue and muscular tissue. Alright students, now the next level of organization in the living things is organ system level. Now what happens is that each organ in the living things, it has got its own specific function. For example, digestive system. The function of the digestive system is a digestion of food. Now this digestive system, it consists of oral cavity, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver and pancreas, etc. The organ system level in plants is root system. So the plants has got its own system. Now students, the next level of organization is individual level. So what happens is that different organs and systems, they combine to form an individual. For example, man engaged in exercise. Now when a person is doing an exercise, so he is in constant moving position. In this exercise, his muscles, they are in working position. He has got an increased rate of respiration and his heartbeat also increases. Now with all this, what happens is that oxygen is supplied and food is supplied to the muscles in order to keep these muscles working. Alright students, now the next level of organization is population level. Now here we will define what is population. It is group of organisms of the same species located at the same place in the same time. For example, population in Pakistan in 2010 was 173.5 million. The next level of organization is community level. Now what is community, students? Community is people living together, interact with one another within the same environment. Here in community, we can take the example of a forest. And students, if we are talking about the forest which is included in the community level, we can also include in this plants, microorganisms, fungi and animal species, etc. Now next is complex community. What is complex community? The example of complex community is forest and pond. And the example of simple community is fallen log with various population under it. By this log we mean wood that has been fallen down. And when a wood falls down, students, so small plants, they can pop out of it. So by simple community we can mean the small plants which pop out of the fallen log. Now the next is biosphere level. Now what is biosphere level, students? By biosphere we mean the part of the earth that is inhabited by organism community. It is made up of ecosystem. What is ecosystem, students? Ecosystem is that area where the living organisms, they interact with non-living things of the environment. And this ecosystem, it is also known as zone of life on earth. Thank you.